and just apply. Like you have to position yourself by networking, and you also have to like understand what you're looking for. So I'm really excited to dive into that today with Justice, and I'm sure you guys will look forward to it. A little bit about Justice. I think something that's interesting in Justice is that you've worked in public sector in Nigeria and
Yes.
you moved to tech. So like
Yeah.
we should dive into how that experience was moving from a company like NNPC to somewhere like Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's
Fair,
interesting. I want to
fair.
have things like that.
Okay, okay. Should I start there?
Yeah, sure.
Um, so I would say my experience back in Nigeria wasn't really something I would say I can write home about in that sense, because I feel like right around that period I was still finding my feet in terms of like what I wanted to do. I studied computer engineering, and then my time with NMPC was basically, I wouldn't even call it a job per se, right? But it did help me to understand how, like, appreciate the job market in that side a lot more, right?
Mm,
So when I finally moved to Ireland, I saw a lot of discrepancies, like a big gap in how we work back in Nigeria and how we work here. So
interesting.
I would say that would be my one big takeaway from having worked in Nigeria a bit. Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. So yes, everyone again, welcome. Today we have Justice. He's a program manager at Microsoft. He's based in Dublin, and today he's going to talk to us about how to network effectively as a product professional and land your desired job. So, please prepare your questions. If you're looking for a job, you might want to tune in. Actually, everybody should listen because with the way the job market is, any of us can enter that market at any point in time. So this session is crucial. So let's all just pay attention and have our questions ready. Yeah, Justice. I think we should
Yep.
just kick off and like, could you introduce yourself? Just tell us a bit about you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for setting this up and hosting this, and for the introduction as well. Hi guys, my name is Justice. I am Nigerian, as you can hear from my accent. I currently am based in Dublin, Ireland. Before then, I used to be in Nigeria. And I think the most interesting thing about me professionally will be that up until like 2019, I didn't know what product management was, right? So I would say going from that point to this point has been a journey, and how I got in here is something that I regularly share on LinkedIn as well, to just get people to know that, like, we tech people, we really don't have two heads, right? So yeah, that's it about me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much for that. So yeah, I think we can just dive right in. Enough people have joined the call. Welcome, guys.
Okay.
So before Justice goes on, some house rules. Please, if you have a question, you can raise your hand up. Just keep your hand there. When it's time to ask questions towards the end of the session, we will call you up. Alternatively, if you don't want to speak, you can just type out your question in the chat box and I'll say it out for you. All right. Also, if you have like a suggestion or something exciting to add, you can just do that in the chat box. Thank you. All right, Justice, over to you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the topic of networking itself is something that I find a little bit broad, right? Because when we say networking, this conversation that we're having is actually networking, right? But for a lot of people, is a word that they really don't know what to do with, because a lot of people throw it around. Oh, you need a job, go and network. Network where? Network with who, right? So I would say networking in itself, it's kind of like an art. It's like a relationship. It's not networking because of what you are trying to get, like what you're trying to get actively from that encounter, But it's more, if we're looking at it from a relationship standpoint, if you're not a selfish person, of course, you would want to see it from a standpoint of, okay, what do I have to give to get, what I want to, what I'm looking for. So that's the lens I see networking from. In my experience, coming into being a product manager and moving all the way to working with Microsoft. I think for the first 2 years of it, I didn't really know how important networking was, right? Not even networking at that point. I really didn't know how important it was to have a presence that I could use to reach out to someone else and then look trustworthy enough for the person to engage with me. So, and I feel that's where a lot of people struggle with. Whether it is, you looking for a job, or you just looking to expand your network, or you looking to make a business deal or something. If you're approaching it from the standpoint of, oh, what can I get? What can I get? I think a lot of people would fail miserably, right? So, which would lead me to the very first point where I feel like a lot of people are not taking advantage of, especially we as Nigerians, where we're a little bit nonchalant about it. I'm calling it positioning per se. What I mean by positioning is how we are now in the digital age. I think if you came in earlier, you would hear myself and Ija talking about AI and everything. Like, there's a lot that is going on in the tech space right now. And if you are still looking to do things the old way, you may find yourself missing out a lot. And as PMs, right, we need to be at a point where we can say, oh, yeah, we are with the times. We are not behind. So positioning for me is what you do with your presence, your online presence. Let me put it that way. What you do with your online presence. I think we all know that professionally, the best place to, network with professionals and maybe potentially apply for jobs and potentially get a job or get new prospects will be on LinkedIn, right? What are you doing with your LinkedIn? How are you handling that? Because I think nowadays, if it hasn't happened, I haven't been back in Nigeria for a while, especially in the professional sector, but like over here, if you try to apply for a job without maybe a LinkedIn profile, or not even just a LinkedIn profile, like an optimized LinkedIn profile or anything, you'll find yourself struggling a lot. I remember when I was applying to before I became a product manager, I was a product owner with a company in the UK. I've always worked remotely anyways. I was a product owner with a company in the UK, and while I was there and applying to try and get another job as a product manager or a product owner, it was really, really difficult because I would send out my CV and then I wouldn't hear from them. I would optimize my CV, send out again, I wouldn't hear from them. Not for any fault of theirs. For me, I look at myself as a very self-aware person, right? I feel like most often than not, I would want to do the very best so that by the time I say what could have gone wrong, I can tell myself with full confidence that, okay, at least I did my best. This wasn't me. Probably this isn't working and I need to make a change. So I would I'll send out applications and I wouldn't hear anything, or I'll just get the auto rejections and stuff. So it wasn't working. I tried that for a while and it didn't work. So I kind of decided maybe it could be because I didn't have enough experience, which is one of the main things that plague a lot of us, right? It's like maybe because I don't have enough experience or there's just something wrong. So I figured as opposed to trying the same thing over and over again, which is what they call insanity, let me try and get myself some experience. So I figured, okay, why not do a little bit of freelancing as a PM for starters? So that's what I did. Now, what I learned from that process that I was trying to freelance and get gigs as a PM is that the idea of positioning yourself as an expert is way more than it is trying to just get a regular employment, because these are clients that are looking to pay you cash, looking to pay you high amounts just for a few hours of your time, and they're not very financially buoyant in regards to how much they have to invest in their product. So they really want to employ or hire the best person in that. And you realize that in order for you to stand out as the very best person, this is where you need to position yourself, both on LinkedIn, or a website, or anything that can just show that, okay, this person is who they say they are. This is what they've done. This is their history. This is their capability, right? So that's what it really does. And the core of, if any one of you have freelanced at all at any point, the core of freelancing is being able to network your way into the job. So it's like being able to talk to the person, being able to appeal to their senses, being able to talk to them in a way that you are not desperate, you're not coming off as, oh, I need a job, I need a job, I need experience, right? But you're trying to convince this person that, oh, hey, if you hire me, I will be the best person for this job at this particular time. And these are the things that would help you do. I've listened to you. You've talked about your company, what you're trying to achieve, and your team. This is what I think I can offer you. I list out the things that I can offer you on that. So it's like being able to, first of all, have somewhere that already speaks of these things for you, and then coming on to now use a one-on-one conversation to just finish it off and put the final cherry on top. So first thing in effective networking is positioning. So that would include your LinkedIn, your portfolio. If any of you have followed me on LinkedIn, you would see how I talk about having a portfolio of products. As PMs, most of us are not technical. I came from a computer engineering background, but I don't know how to write a single line of code, except for something I tried to do on HTML, which was a while ago, and I hated it. And then trying to transition into product management, I kept hearing people saying, you may need to learn how to code. Thank God for a mentor that I had earlier that saved me from that nightmare, like to just educate me that I don't need to learn how to code to be a PM. I just need to understand what is going on, understand the technologies, not necessarily how, but like the whys, the pros and the cons and things like that, and be able to say, okay, this is the tech, basically make tech suggestions. So on that front, it's like we as PMs, we need to have somewhere that we can show that we are not just all talk. We know what we're saying, we have done what we're saying, we've either built something, launched it, worked with the team, done anything. So that's like the idea of your portfolio. And you would find that it would be the place that speaks about you the most when it comes to job applications, and reaching out to people on LinkedIn, or sending applications, and maybe for those people that write cover letters, having a cover letter and adding a link to your portfolio. It just gives you that, it just adds that extra depth of professionality to you when you speak to people, when you apply to jobs, when you do things, and it's like, okay, this person is not just all talk. This person is not just a head in a photo banner, for example. So right, so those are the first thing, is like positioning. The best place to network is on LinkedIn. What have you done with your LinkedIn profile? Is it optimized? Is it showing what you currently do, which may not be what you're looking to get into? Or is it showing what you are aiming to do and the things that you're doing? So it's kind of like your CV as well, but it's just more online, and people would be checking it out from time to time, because as you would know, LinkedIn, when you search for candidates to apply to jobs or candidates to reach out to, they will use their SEO to pick out the best fit for that particular search. So if you are a PM looking for a job, if you are a PM looking to expand your network, and you're looking to get noticed, the first thing you would need to do is work on your brand, like your personal brand, how you are perceived. if someone opens your profile on LinkedIn, what do they see, right? Do they see a secondary school graduate that just puts a title of a product manager there just for product management's sake, and no about section, no trail of ever doing any certifications, or no trail of ever taking any courses or anything? It's like a desert out there. So it's like the first thing you want to do is have your LinkedIn optimized. Have, if you haven't, which in this day and age I don't see why anyone shouldn't be doing that, is like, have your LinkedIn optimized, and then if you can, have a portfolio of things that you have done as a PM. Unless you don't have any of those experiences yet, then you would need to focus on getting some sort of working experience where you worked on something, you worked with a team, you launched something, and then you followed through the PM process to get it from ideation to delivery and tracking success, see how you iterated on things like that. Are things that hiring managers want to see. If you want to freelance, those are things that clients would like to actually see, that you're not just all talk. And that, for me, that's what I did when I was trying to get into freelancing in the beginning, and then I did it again while I was also applying for jobs. It's massively helpful to you, like positioning yourself as that expert, positioning yourself to be visible online, and positioning yourself with the work that you have done. It just saves you a lot of time and a lot of headache, to be very fair. Before I move on to the next part of this talk, anyone has any questions?
Amazing so far. So we have one question in the chat box, and yes, someone else has raised their hand. So we'll just take these two, then move on.
Awesome.
Okay. So please, and this is by Esther Imodudro. Please, what websites do you use to get product management freelance jobs?
Oh, in my time when I was looking to get into product management freelancing, it was Upwork. Upwork is a professional platform that it's really good. Some people say it's a little finicky in terms of like how they handle payment and stuff like that, but I find it really good because you would get a lot of really solid clients if you are persistent with it. It can be a little difficult to set up and go at first because of just like everything I've been saying, positioning yourself. There are a lot of freelancers also there, so you need to know how to set up your profile, bid for jobs and things like that. So, but yeah, Upwork was what I used. There's a lot more, but like Upwork was it for me when it came to PM jobs.
Great. I think a follow-up to that would be like you sharing tips on, and I mean this can come in much later, on how like people can get started on Upwork. I mean, you already talked about LinkedIn optimization and building. So I guess those are like precursors to achieving that. Like any other hacks or tricks you think would help Upwork?
Okay. Yeah, like I mean, there really isn't any magic pill to it. This is a buzzword, and I feel cliche even saying it. It's like consistency, right? And sometimes persistence helps a lot, because when the job market is brutal, regardless where you are, whether you are trying to get a full-time job or you're trying to get into freelance, it is brutal. So it's like the strongest candidate wins regardless, and you kind of have to prove yourself to be the strongest candidate, either by how you talk, either by how you sell yourself, either by what you show, or just the quality of your work. And if you can't show any of those, you probably would be there for a long time before getting in. So I think the first tip would be optimize your LinkedIn, get some sort of portfolio of work, of things that you can show that you've done. I think for starters, price yourself really low. Go to Upwork. You see a lot of freelancers that do the same thing that you're looking to do. look how they are pricing themselves. Look at the first, that's what I did. Look at the first 10, look at the first 20. At some point, scroll down to the first 20 PMs that you see that are freelancing. You would see how they price themselves. Sometimes they price themselves really
Mm.
high, because it's product management, it's an expensive gig. But like as a beginner coming in, you want to price yourself below everyone and show yourself to be able to do as much work as they would do and come with as much expertise. Even if you don't have it, just showing that you do, because at the end of the day, once you get in, you find that the amount of work you tend to do most times is not as much as you expected, or is not as much as you interviewed for. It's just some of the everyday things that you do as a PM. But like just getting across that bar, you need to show yourself as, professional. You need to show yourself as competent. You need to show yourself as an expert, and you need to show yourself as cheap. If you can get one or two jobs after you've priced yourself cheap, I mean, you can bump up your price and continue going for as high as you want. Somebody will definitely pay eventually. That's it.
Interesting. So before we go back to the chat box, which we're going to save for later,
Yeah.
let's take Bridget's question. Bridget, can you ask a question?
Yeah, okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, for this portfolio thing, like that has been like one edit I've had because I don't know, sometimes it just feels like I don't even know like how to go about it. Like, okay, so I can say I've done ABC, but how then am I putting it that like am I put is it like I'm making of what I've done before? Like say I'm working for a particular company and I've done XYZ for one of their products. Am I like putting that replica there? Is it not like I just really just want to get like the idea of like giving a portfolio and um what the details should be.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I struggled with that as well when I was looking to build my portfolio. One thing I would say, just so you keep at the back of your mind, is that a portfolio is not a replica of your CV, right? Your CV is where you have bullet points of the things you've achieved as a PM. If you didn't know how to write a CV in the first place, it's not a list of, a CV is not a list of responsibilities. Your CV is a list of achievements, right? Not responsibilities. So people that have, oh, I did this, and I did that, like, okay, as PMs, we don't do that, because doing that, it's like, what makes you any different from a developer? Or because everything that you'll be doing as a PM revolves around everybody else. There's literally no one thing that you do that is not someone else's job as a PM. Take, for example, a PM works with designers, but oftentimes PMs do wireframes, they do mockups and stuff. That's not your job. However, you need to know how to do those things to be able to convince people of your idea. Um, Going back to the point, your CV is not a list of responsibilities, a list of achievements. However, for your portfolio, it is where you put more detail and more meat into what you did for that particular product, for that particular role, um, for people to see. So the kind of details that go into your portfolio, for example, is if you were working with company A, and in company A they were building a mobile application product. The mobile application product is for let's say selling petrol, for example, right? You would probably have a section where you put that, and it takes a lot of effort, right? It's like you would need evidence that you actually did these things. So things like screenshots, things like pictures, things like screenshots of maybe your Kanban board, or how you did a few things. Like you need some sort of evidence to put in there that it's not just a write-up, right? Um, that's why I would always say, for people that are looking to start their portfolios like yourself, the portfolio is not the first step. The first step is actually getting to do all those work that you're about to write about. So if you've worked with a company before, do you have enough detail or enough evidence of your work with those people to write about it in a full article, for example? So that's the first place to start. But if you already have those things, representing it in your portfolio is about the kind of story you want to tell. So you want to tell a story of, okay, I worked on this product as a PM, and I got the product from X place to Y place. I worked with X teams, I worked with developer, blah, 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 blah. This was maybe how we came up with some of the ideas that we prioritized and tested, some screenshots, blah, blah, blah. And, going down into, okay, this is how I managed the team. This is how I launched it. This is how we did some experiments. This is how I tracked it. We got X amount of people to use this in X days. Those kind of details, right? And then going down at the end, you put like, okay, at the end of my time on this product, I was able to get these things. And then maybe if you have it, a link to what you worked on. But if you don't have it, they can't take your word for it. Besides, by the time you're done writing, and anyone that's reading it would have understood how you think from ideating a product or taking a product's vision from a PM and going straight to delivery and working with different people that you have to work with to make sure that it's successful. Make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool.
All right, so we have 4 more people on the queue. Precious raised his hand. Esther asked another question. Emmanuel asked a question, and Komolafe asked a question. So we're just going to circle back, towards the end for these questions. But yeah, I think you can go on, Justice.
Awesome. Okay, we've talked about positioning yourself, right, on the online platforms to be able to be in the best place to reach out to people. Now, the next step would be actually reaching out to those people, right? I started writing on LinkedIn last year, I think around November, and the amount of emails I've gotten from random people that sometimes miss out on the first set of things I've talked about earlier, which is like optimizing your LinkedIn, is alarming. Like someone will reach out to me and be like, oh hey, this that, can you refer me, or can you, like, random things like, oh, I have this experience. And I think it's crazy because I know they could be using that time, or maybe if there were no premium subscribers to LinkedIn, which I doubt most of them are, they could use that email points to reach out to an actual person that may be able to help them, right? Which is bringing me to the next step, is reaching out to the right people. Now, my main focus in networking here is going to be on LinkedIn. So if you are really not on LinkedIn and you plan on networking and you are inside, there's no hope for you, right? Unless you have a way of attending networking events and things like that, that brings you closer to some of these company people, you may find yourself fighting a losing game. So on LinkedIn is literally the best place to be. In terms of like looking for jobs, meeting potential teammates and things like that. So finding the right people would be finding people that are connected to jobs that you're interested in, or connected to companies that you're interested in, or finding people that are literally hiring, to be fair, sometimes, right? And then finding a way to reach out to them without coming off, rude or too much in that sense. It's kind of like being in dating scene. You want to come on to the person, but you don't want to come on too strong. So that's what I mean by finding the right people. The right people in this context, for anyone looking for a PM gig or whatever job you're looking for, this is literally for anyone really, is I think the right people will be recruiters. One, recruiters are the first and foremost people that I would say find a way to get in touch with, find a way to build a relationship with those people, because they will be your best bet at getting something most of the times. Reason being, if you get a job through a recruiter, depending on where you are, right? Depending on where you are. But most of the times, if you get a job through a recruiter, they are not necessarily getting you a job, they are getting themselves a job, because if they bring you in, sometimes they get a commission from the company directly or from their own company. And then depending on the kind of recruitment agency, they may even get a cut from your salary to even begin with. I always tell year one, year zero to year two PMs, right? That not even year zero, not even year two, year zero to year one PMs, that the money is not your problem at this point. Because I find that a lot of people focus on the wrong things when they're just starting out. Yes, PM, product management is a very, very lucrative gig. They pay a boatload of money for the kind of work that they do. But like that shouldn't be your core reason for going into product management. Because if that is the reason you move into the role, you may end up regretting it and making the wrong decisions. Example of a wrong decision is you taking a gig that you know fully well that you are not yet qualified for, but because you can finesse your way through an interview, you got the gig and you accepted it because maybe they pay high, as opposed to taking a gig that you know that, oh, it will give you a massive opportunity to learn and get your feet wet, and really really sharpen your skills, but then they pay less, right? So like I just wanted to take that out of the way so that you can know where to focus your energy. If you are year one, year zero, even year two PM, and you're looking to network to get into a gig, your main focus should be learning as much as you can, because down the line you would be able to price yourself really, really high, ridiculously high. In the US, PMs make up to 300K in the year, sometimes plus bonuses of the product that they receive. Some of them make up to 400K. Right? And that's not an exaggeration. That is like fact that people do, and they're living large. So on that note, reaching out to recruiters would be a right move to make. Reaching out to hiring managers would be a right move to make. Reaching out to, maybe there's a company you've been eyeing, for example, Microsoft, reaching out to some of the people in the company would be a right move to make in terms of, looking to network with people. Also, there's also one new feature on LinkedIn. It's not so new anyways, but it's relatively new, where for jobs that, like, for every job that you see, you may see the recruiter or the hiring manager that posted that job tagged within the job details, right? So that also gives you an extra step, an extra opportunity to network with that person and just talk or do whatever you want to do with that connection. So these three sets of people would be a really good place to start if you are looking to network. Just before I open up floor for questions again, let me just move quickly to the next step, which is when you do find these people, how do you reach out to them, right? And this is where the trick really is, and this is where I feel like a lot of us really miss it. I mentioned earlier that most people would send you a DM and send you their CV, especially if they're reaching out to recruiters. They'll send you a DM and send you their CV. For what? You have no idea. For what job? Do you have no idea? Why are you sending them the CV? No context, no reason, out of the blue, you send a CV. That is the wrong move to make, and it kind of hurts your chances, because I don't know, people can be vindictive, honestly. You can annoy someone, and then maybe you apply to a job in the with the company, and the person is maybe the hiring manager or the recruiter, and they just see you and know, I've seen the CV, without actually taking the time to actually read it, because maybe you sent it to them and annoyed them before. They will just bounce it. So it's like things like that. It happens, and it's not supposed to, but it does happen. So you want to try to learn how to reach out to people. I don't know if Ugo is on this call. Yeah, I don't think he is. the reason why I mentioned him, he was the one that introduced me to PIP. How that happened is I made a post on LinkedIn one time, and then he connected with me, and then he sent me a message. And I think, yeah, I responded. I think he asked the question, I responded, and I think he asked the question on how would he network with people? How does he get the most out of his networking? And I gave him some advice, and he took it, which I will talk about later on how this story ties to that. He took it, and then that was how I actually ended up here. And the team reached out to me to come and do this talk. So learning how to reach out to people is really important. I would say the first things to not do when you reach out to people: don't DM people and ask for a job, whether it's a recruiter, whether it's a hiring manager, unless they ask you, they reach out to you first and ask for your interest, then that's fine. But like I would say, if you're looking to network with people, don't DM them and ask for a job. Don't send a message and be really, really cheesy. Don't send a message and ask for things that you would otherwise find by just scrolling through their profile or searching the web, right? Don't randomly send people your CV. That's annoying. So those are the things not to do. Now we move on to what do you actually do? A few tips that I find works really well is finding a way to build a relationship with these people. And there are a lot of guys in this place, if you've ever tried to woo a lady, it's almost the same process. Get familiar with them first. Don't come and ask for something right off the bat. It's like, what do you give first to try and get this person's attention? What do you have to do? That's how I approach it. If I'm reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, most often than not, before I go out and send that connection or send an email, I'll scroll through their profiles, look at the things they've done, find anything we have in common that I can talk about at all. If we don't have anything, then I honestly don't see why I'm reaching out to this person in the first place. If I'm reaching out to this person because, oh, they work in a company I'm interested in, I would honestly lead with that. But like, I wouldn't go on and say, oh, can you send me a referral at the first try? One thing I always keep in the back of my mind is sometimes people are open to answering your questions. If they have the time, they would. So the best bet for you is, if you reach out to someone, go in genuinely curious about something. It could be that you're curious about how to break into product management. It could be that you're curious about how their company works, or it could be that you're curious about how he got the job in the first place. But like, you need to break it in slowly. Before you even connect to the person, send a personal connection request that, hey, hi. Say, for example, you wanted to network with me on LinkedIn, for example. It would be that, okay, before you send that connection request, you would probably have gone through my posts, see what I've done, or maybe because if you listen to me, you know a little bit more about me. And then we have this in common now, where you can say, oh, hey, hi, I'm this person. I heard your talk on PIP platform. I would really love to connect with you and, learn a little bit more about you, or ask you a couple of questions and things like that. Those things would more likely get a first response. And once you get a first response, it's a little bit easier now to make your next move, make your next steps, right? So that's the first thing. Now, once you've been able to establish that open connection, say you send that message and the person responds to you, what you want to do is not even asking for anything. What you want to do is find a way to establish value, establish how valuable you can be. And that is what Ugo, that I mentioned earlier, really did after we had our initial chats. I was like, well, if you wanted to network with people, you want to be able to be valuable. You give to get most of the times, because sometimes if somebody doesn't see why, or doesn't have a reason to engage with you, or doesn't have a strong something stronger that they're benefiting from your conversation with them, they may be less likely to engage with you, right? So it's like find a way to establish some sort of value. So maybe it's so, and value is not necessarily what you give. It could even be how you ask a question, right? That can be really valuable. You can come in genuinely curious after maybe if they are creators, for example, and they post something insightful, you can engage with that, ask questions and comments from there, get familiar, follow them, for example. And before you know it, they know your face. And then when you do send a connection request, you're not a stranger anymore. And then when you ask a question, they're more likely to engage with you because they've seen how you gave your time in engagement, how you followed them, and how you probably reacted to some of the content that they put in, if they are content creators, for example. But if they are not, and you're able to get that initial connection going, it's a matter of how do you establish your value? How do you ask a question in a way that's not creepy and it's not needy? Yes, you need something, but like you need some sort of curiosity. That's it. So that could be an example of adding value. Another thing is, like I mentioned earlier, engaging and things like that, if they are creators. But if they are not, it could literally just be offering something that can be so in I think in the US and also in this side, you could buy if you are not tight-handed, you could get someone like a $5 coffee card to get coffee and chat with you, or you could decide to send them something you found really interesting, or you could decide to help them solve a problem if you find it. So those are small ways to establish value. So what Ugo did with me was when we had that initial conversation, and I was like, oh yeah, you need to find ways to establish value with people, because that would be something that they would not forget, and then they'll be open to helping you more, to do like really with anything that you would need at that point, if they are not selfish as well. And then I'd also told him that sometimes if you dig deep enough, you would find, especially in this digital age, you would find what those people are interested in, what they care about, what they're pursuing at that point. And if you can contribute to that, you have yourself a winner, right? And what he did was, okay, I was posting at that time. I was a lot of people were engaging. I was growing my page, building my personal brand as well. And he was like, oh, hey, he has a platform that he's a part of that he thinks would benefit from my talks or my experience. And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. He said, okay, he's going to reach out to the team and then have them set up something with me. And that's how I came to be here. And if he was here, he would know that when he reaches out to me again, I would be eager to respond to him and help him with anything he would need, because okay, he has given me a platform to actually meet more people, talk to more people, and impact more people. So things like that are things you want to look to doing, be finding ways to be valuable to people. You don't have to do it the way Mr. A did it. Like find your own way, apply your own self, and do it that way. That would really help your chance in networking, just by being able to offer something. It doesn't have to be money. It could be time, it could be engagement, it could be support, it could be they're looking for it. Any way that you can apply yourself to let that person know that you are trying to help them do something, or you appreciate them for something, is where you want to get to. With this, I would open the floor to any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Justice. Thank you for everything so far. This has been like a very, very insightful event. And I'll just, because we don't really have a lot of time, so I'll just go straight to the questions. So we have just a few questions so far.
Yeah.
So there's a question from Esther Imodujoel. She said, what websites did you use to get product management freelance jobs? Yeah.
Okay, I think we've answered that earlier. First,
Okay.
that was an Upwork. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just move to the next question then. So there's also this question from Ojo Emmanuel saying, is having a personal portfolio website better, or focusing on only LinkedIn is preferred?
I would say anywhere you see you can pull leverage, I would say take advantage of it. Having a personal website portfolio gives you a lot of opportunities, gives you a lot of leeway to do a lot of things. Sometimes you may not want to directly link your LinkedIn profile to some stuff, and having a personal website would be good. For me personally, I built a personal website for myself to host the things that I've done when I was looking for, and it helped. I also had my LinkedIn, but like LinkedIn doesn't give you a lot of opportunities to do, like, to express what you've done as a PM. It's kind of like a medium CV, if I put it that way, on LinkedIn, unless you are a creator that is constantly putting out your thoughts and your knowledge on what you do on LinkedIn. That's what I would say. So I would say leverage both. But if you can't do both, LinkedIn is a really good place because that's where you get to meet a lot of people. Just make sure that you are properly optimized for the kind of conversations you want to be having.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Justice. Thank you for that answer. I think we have more questions, so I'll just move to the next question. There's a question again from Adesoji that says, can entry-level PMs look for freelance internship jobs?
Yes, they can. No, it wouldn't be internships, right? If you are going into the freelance market, you need to have at least done something, because nobody's going to pay you per hour to teach you when you're supposed to be giving your expertise to them. So that's why it's freelancing, not an employment per se. It's a contract for you to help them do specific things. So if you're looking for an internship, freelancing wouldn't be the way to go. But if you're looking for a place to work on people's projects in a meaningful way, and you are able to apply yourself and sell yourself as the expert, even though, because when I did it, I think I had like 8 months to like maybe just about a year of experience when I started doing it. And I got a lot of rejections, and I still did it, and eventually got, I think at the end of the day, I landed like about 2 gigs on Upwork before I stopped. So yeah, you want to be able to show yourself as a professional, not necessarily coming in and looking for an internship.
Yeah, good that. I believe, yeah, I believe Adesoji is on the course. So thanks for that answer. I'll just also move to the next question. There is this question from Juliana Kent. Please kindly recommend. Okay, let me just read it so you can at least provide an answer. So please kindly recommend sites I can use in building a portfolio. I really want to see how a PM portfolio looks like. Please kindly share one.
Okay, that's cool. Funny enough, I have shared some portfolios on LinkedIn a while back. But let me see. Maybe if I can find it, I'll share it in the Slack channel. When I dig those out, I have about 3 that I use as inspiration for mine. Mine has expired now. I could bring it back up when I want to, but like I'd have to pay. But PM portfolios, yeah, I'll post it on the Slack channel, and then you probably see how it goes. The site I used to build mine was Squarespace. You can use Squarespace. You can use Webflow. Honestly, if you want to go really light, there's Card, and they're like, you don't have to code really. You can just go up there. Sometimes there are templates. You can use your own ideas and just build like what you want and how you want it to look like, what you want to say, basically. I think there's, at this point, there may be some free ones that you can go. I think I saw someone build his on LinkedIn with Software app. But it didn't look as well as as good as I wanted it to. But like there are lots of free tools. So Squarespace was the one I used. There's Webflow, there's Cards, you can even do it on Notion, to be fair. I think Notion now has a paid version that you can pay for as well, but like just any way that you can really express your portfolio and like the breadth of your experience somewhere I would say you should go for. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I think I can read this now. Someone said, Pressure says, I have a full-time job as a digital content developer, but I developed a passion for PM last year. How do I get PM experience while having a full-time job on a different job? Yeah, this is a good one because it was the dilemma that I faced when I was starting out. I was working a full-time job, but I was also looking to break into product management, and it wasn't easy. I would the advice I usually give to people is when breaking into product management, you need to be ready, because if you can't be looking for a new job without a job, and your full-time job will basically take all of your time. When I was doing mine, I was opportune to find a team that I joined. That it was really expensive. Anyways, I joined them. I paid, but then I was working like all night. So sometimes I would be in meetings till like 12 a.m. after I just finished work by 8. So I'll be in meetings all through the day, be doing like PM stuffs at night, sometimes waking up by 1 a.m. because my teammates are in different time zones and we get to work on products. So I would say the first thing to do if you're trying to break it, if you've never done any PM courses or any product management related courses, I would say that should be the first thing you should try to get into. Do one of those, understand what product management is, how the processes work, how we think, and if you can get yourself certified, that would be a good place to start. And then the next thing would be either you find a way to you need to find a way to build a product, build a project, do a side project, build something with some people, launch it, learn from it, release it again, be able to tell that story, and find ways to showcase those things that you've done in the portfolio that we're talking about building, right? So that would be my 2 steps to saying doing these things. Wouldn't take you 2 weeks, it wouldn't take you 1 month even. It could take you, this something could take you upwards of 6 months, right? But like, you need to set your mind, if you know where you're going, right? You just need to keep doing the things that you do. It took me 2 years to finally break in. And in that 2 years, there were times that I wanted to give up. Like I would finish a meeting and I'm just tired because I know by 7 o'clock the next day I'm going to work and I need to sleep and get there. And there are things I haven't done. It took a lot of sacrifices on my side to actually get to the point where I was saying, okay, I'm ready to apply for jobs and I need to get here. Recommend the course. Yeah, the thing is, most of these courses are all the same. They will be telling you the same thing. What product management is, how do you do product management? There's one on Google. I think there's a product design course on Google. There's another one on Udacity. I think I pinned some of those courses. I could also share it. I'll share it. Yeah, this is it. This is someone just shared a portfolio sample on the chat. So take a look at that. This is one of the ones I also shared here. And this was one of the guys that inspired me. I reached out to him on LinkedIn and he was a really cool guy. I liked his portfolio and I liked what he did. So I think there's Mark Progano. He was one of them. There's a lady, Lisa, I think Taiza Fernandez. Another one. I'll share those links as well when I find them on my profile. They really, some of those people you would see, they write blogs as well on their page and what they've done and their experiences and the products they worked on. They linked it. You will just see the dynamic approach that they take towards building their own portfolio, and it would show that this person is a really seasoned PM, whether the person has 2 years experience or 1 year experience. No one cares. They can do the job, right? So yeah.
Yeah, Justice, thank you very much. Thank you so
Awesome.
much thank you for your time. I mean, this has been a very, very insightful meeting, and I'm sure everyone like have like learned one or two things about like networking as a product manager, as a professional in this space. Guys, thank you for attending the meeting. I just sent Justice LinkedIn and Twitter handle, right? So please just do well to follow him. You would also be able to just get tips on product management periodically as he posts on his handle, and you can also, of course, reach out to him. Just of course reach out in a way that you definitely get response. I believe you understand what I'm saying. So thank you a lot for joining the call. Thank you so much, Justice, for making it out of your busy schedule. And we do hope that we would be able to also come up with another event like this, bring another speaker as well, so we can all learn, right, as product managers collectively. Thank you very much. And this is me saying goodbye till Saturday. Yeah, when we meet again for checking call. Yeah. So see you guys. Bye.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Justice.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Bye.
Appreciate Justice.
Bye. Thank you,
Alright.
Justice. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Justice.
Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you.
Let me get a mail for this call.